Kingdom Week 3 predictions. What's up, Tay? How did you enjoy week 2?
I had a pretty good week overall. I mean, I spent this weekend in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun, and so it was fun being at a sports book and actually getting a chance to watch most of these games. And it also helps to have made some money while I was doing it, so it made it nice. It was a good
I
weekend. How
did.
about yourself?
Well, first off, I didn't know that there was vending machine or like automated vending machines where you could place your bet and get a receipt. That was pretty amazing. That's insane that
Yeah,
exists.
so what's cool is that it's actually a FanDuel sports book. So FanDuel sponsors it, and they're like separate from the casino, and they have their own machines set up, and they're throughout the whole casino. There's those little little machines, and so you just go in, pick all of the same things, very similar to the way our bookies things are set up, like the Bovadas of the world and everything else. But the cool thing is you get that ticket, and then if you win, you go up to the cashier and get cash
Sure.
immediately. Yeah, and the odds were actually a slight better. So like the payouts were a little bit better than what our normal books paid. So
Well, nice.
yeah,
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, as far as Bovada goes, I didn't do too good, but on DraftKings, I'm up. I've doubled my money, so I'm happy there.
that means you're doing something right. So
Yeah, and it was the exact opposite last year. I was losing a lot on DraftKings and winning a lot on Bovada. So for whatever reason, it's flipped this year. And that's fine. But regardless, so how
there
did
you
we
go.
do? How did you
Well,
fare? How did I fare?
yeah, let me go ahead and share the wonderful spreadsheet that we were working on here. So give me 2 seconds and let me know when you see my screen here.
Oop, I see it.
All right. So I think overall I had a pretty good week. I think I missed on the Packers, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Jets, the Patriots, and the Browns. And it looks like you had missed on the Packers, Raiders, Texans, Jaguars, Chargers, Giants, and Browns.
Wow. Yeah. Is that what I had? Yeah. So wait. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 losses. Holy smokes!
Yeah,
And you
I
had
actually had 6 losses.
wow. Okay. So I had tracked myself. Oh yeah. Yeah. I put versus spread. I was 10-6. Okay. And you were I think 11-5, right? Two. No, 6.
Mm-hmm.
11-6. Wait. So I had 7. Okay. I
Unless
thought
I
I
must have missed
lost.
something.
Well, I thought I lost the Raiders, the Texans, Jaguars, Giants, Browns. So I picked
Didn't the Chargers or the Packers end up losing that game?
Packers. I don't even.
Yeah, the Packers lost. I thought they ended up losing to the Falcons at the very end. Remember?
Yeah, but okay. Was it
The spread that
Yeah.
we had yet last week was the Packers were favored -1.5.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I lost
So
that one too. I missed that one. All right.
yeah. So
Yeah. By the way, that Falcons Packers game, you let the Packers let the Falcons hang around. And that's
yes.
how I've seen the Falcons win last year is other teams would just kind of get bored of playing them. And then the
Yeah.
Falcons would just sneakily, because you don't even think it's going to happen to you. Nobody thinks the Falcons are going to beat them. And then they just sneak a victory and Young Hoo Ko kicks a kicks a game winner.
Yeah, I wasn't really circling that one on my calendar of like all of the big games to watch, but I kind of wish I paid a little bit more attention to it.
They're sneaky. The Falcons are
They were
sneaky.
sneaky. Yes. Hey, question for you. So, what was your outside of your Dolphins game? What was kind of like your early highlighted game of the week?
Well, I was besides the Dolphins, I was really excited to watch the Cowboys Jets because I thought I was going to watch a massacre. And while the score makes it look like it was a massacre, it wasn't. It wasn't the carnage that I had expected. I mean, the Cowboys blew them out, but I thought it was going to be a dirty blowout. And this was just kind of like yeah, they beat us pretty good, but you didn't have to feel embarrassed. They didn't like the Cowboys embarrassed the Giants. The Cowboys just beat the crap out of the Jets, but they didn't
Yep.
embarrass them. Is that kind of how you felt about it?
Yeah, it's I mean, I didn't watch the whole game, but like I kind of understand what you're, like on the same lines of yes, it was a beatdown, but it didn't feel as bad as it probably really was, because it seemed like the Jets kind of just hung around for
Yeah.
like, and it just didn't feel like the Cowboys just took control of that game really early, and kind of like what the Bills did with the Raiders. I mean, they kind of just royally beat the Raiders really really
Right.
bad, and
Yeah.
and this one felt a little different. Mind you, the score was still 20 points, but yeah, I agree with you on that
A-
with the
And I,
Cowboys
gi-
and
I
the Jets.
I
Yep.
give Zach Wilson credit for surviving the game. I would have bet if it was a bet that Zach Wilson doesn't make it through the game, I would have taken that bet. He made it through the game upright and in one piece, and he played better than I thought he would. I thought he was going to get just obliterated, both sacked a ton and intercepted and fumbled, and it didn't really happen that way. So
So
the Jets
yeah,
performed way better than I thought they would, even though
yeah,
they
it's
lost bad.
it's yeah, it's kind of crazy because I think everyone was kind of questioning what the offensive line would be for the Jets. And I think we saw that in week one where Aaron Rodgers pretty much went down on play four, right? And then
Mm,
right after that, I would like to see how Zach Wilson is behind an offensive line. And I think that's probably what they need to focus on next year. I
mm.
do think that they're going to trade for another quarterback and bring a vet in to kind of take over. But until they fix that offensive line, I still think they're just not going to be very good.
Yeah.
So
And the other game, I mean, obviously, I think the matchup of the week was the Jaguars and Chiefs, and that game was competitive throughout the whole thing. And the Chiefs kind of pulled away at the end, but the first half was kind of like a finger biter. You're like, man, the Jaguars might pull this thing off, and then it just kind of broke away. Actually, the turning point was when Doug Peterson went for it, like on fourth down from the 50
yeah,
yard line, and it was just downhill from there for the
it
Jags.
would as a as I because I pretty much watched the whole game from start to finish. It felt like the Jaguars spent 90% of the game in the Chiefs red zone. Like just and they missed four touchdown passes. Like, and I don't know if it was the Chiefs defense that was causing that, or if that was just them, Trevor Lawrence just missing. But they were all in the back of the end zone, four missed touchdown passes. That could have easily been a Jaguars win, but I'm glad we pulled it out. So
Yeah. Yep. And the that Lions Seahawks game, I think that did that go to overtime?
the Lions Seahawks game did go to overtime, yes, and
Yeah.
Gino came through. So
Yeah. And so as far as the Chiefs Jaguars was like the matchup of the week. The obviously the Dolphins were the Dolphins of the week. The Cowboys were my like, I want to see the carnage of the week. But the game of the week was probably Seahawks and Lions as far as competitiveness and down to the wire. And it's a shame like it's almost like you wanted both teams to win. And
yeah.
it's like it's like, hey, it'd be nice if it ended in a tie. But yeah. By the way, could
Well,
you press control scroll up just to zoom in on the text? So I'm not seeing all
oh yeah,
uh
of course.
I guess yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Is that
Nice.
better?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um. So I do want to talk about the Patriots Dolphins game a little bit, but before we do that, I want to talk about the Commanders Broncos
Just got a quick
because
question for you with the Chiefs though. Did Tony redeem himself? And what about Richie James?
he was 5 for 5 in reception. Five. I think he only covered 35 yards, but I'm okay with the fact that he didn't drop anything. Richie James lost a big fumble or early on in the game, and I think that because the ball hit him in the shoulder pad, in the right shoulder pad, and I think he was just looking up in the sun and lost the ball because it just looked off. Like his
Yeah.
hands weren't
Yeah.
even ready to catch the ball, and it just hit him right on the shoulder pad. So yes, he did fumble it. He looks like he's going to be injured. I think. I think they said that he has an MCL tear, so he
Whoa.
may not. He may be out for the rest of the season. So we'll see. But I don't think Richie James really redeemed himself by any means. But
Yeah.
I
You
think we're still trying to figure out who our receivers are. So
are you satisfied with the Chiefs' performance? I mean, it's a win against the good AFC opponent, or were you kind of like, like how do you gauge?
this was a game that I felt like we could have probably taken control early and often and just probably won by a larger margin than what we did. I think still feel like we're missing, like we're just not fully there, like we're not clicking on offense just yet. But I am very happy with our defense because for the second week, the defense pretty much kept us in this game. And we've only given up 2 touchdowns all season so far. I mean, I know it's only 2 games, but like that's only one touchdown per team. Like I'm pretty happy about that so far. So,
Ice. All
yep.
right. Well, good. Chiefs are 1-1. What was the one you wanted? Commanders and Broncos. Is that what you said?
Yes, I got to get the Russell Wilson thing off my chest.
Okay. Go, go. Hey, Mr. Unlimited was
Yes,
killing
because
it in the first half.
you were blowing my phone up, and so I just need to get this off my chest, right? So I've always been under the impression that teams first half play their best football offensively because it's scripted. The the coaches script what the first half is going to be, and then in the second half, that's when teams make adjustments based on what you're doing, and you have to. That's when the coaches and the quarterbacks kind of play their, play coach their best game and play their best game, right? And what I saw in the second half with Russell Wilson, minus that prayer Hail Mary that he threw, he looked awful. He looked absolutely awful. And while I know he had an unbelievable first half and actually looked like Russ was back, the second half told me exactly what I thought the Broncos were. And that's all I have to say. I just needed to get that off my chest. So
Yeah, dangerous. Although the that was a pretty impressive final drive there to close it out, and really lame to not get the 2 point conversion after you pull off a Hail Mary. It's almost like you're destined to get the 2 pointer, and they don't get it. And
it was a BS call.
uh, it. What do you mean as far as what? Oh, you mean like it
No,
should
the
have been
pass
PI?
interference. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It should have been pass interference. Yeah.
but simultaneously you wonder why did the ball get tipped up in the air? You're supposed to knock it down. The Hail Mary was just like the fact that the ball got tipped up just was like, what's going on here? Who
I
does
don't
that?
know. There was
Unless it
something
was the
suspicious
offense.
about, yeah, something suspicious about that game because uh, when you're up that big at halftime, I just don't know how you can let teams back in. I mean, it's, and we saw that twice this week, with the Giants and the Cardinals.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we should probably talk about that game a little bit because I know that you were kind of shocked by the fact that the Cardinals, but yeah, there was 2 big comebacks this past weekend, and I don't,
And a
I
third strange finale. We'll get to that too. But
yeah,
as far as the Commanders Broncos, did you feel that the Commanders beat the Broncos, or Mr. Unlimited ran out of fuel and just lost
I think Mr. Unlimited showed us that he was limited.
it?
I think once again we saw the limitations there. And man, I'm telling you, I don't. I give him maybe 2 more 3 weeks if he doesn't actually put a full game together and win some games. And I looked at the schedule for the Broncos for the next few weeks, and it doesn't get any easier. They should have won those 2 games. Like the 2 games they should have won were the Raiders at home and the Commanders at home because it's about to get really rough here pretty shortly. And I don't feel good about their chances of winning for the next 4 or 5 weeks at least.
Well, I'll say this. I hope Subway Sandwich Danger Russ shows up this upcoming week against the Dolphins. How about the
Really,
Subway commercial?
I really see Jarrett Stidham starting here in week 4, or I'm sorry, week 4, week 5. I feel
So the
bad, but
the Raiders
I
didn't
seen it.
retain. The Raiders didn't keep Stidham. He's okay. He's on the Broncos
No,
now.
yep.
Okay. He's not much better, but he'll have a good first game, and then you'll remember why he's a backup. But
My
yeah,
thing about it is I don't think Sean Payton wants to. I don't want. I don't think he wants to fall in, like I want to make sure that I think he's trying to clear himself from the Russell Wilson thing, right? So I think
Mm.
he's realizing that what Russell Wilson is now that he's got him in. Because I think even like during a press conference, he was kind of calling out Russell Wilson a little bit, saying like, hey, he was getting the reads in like late. He was calling the plays like super late. And, he just wasn't understanding what was going on. Told him that he'll probably have to start wearing like a wristband with all the
Mm-hmm.
plays. So he was
Right.
really actually calling him out earlier today, and we'll see. I don't see him lasting
So you
very
think the
long.
Broncos will acquire Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston from the Saints?
Dude, their cap is they're going to be messed. They're not going to be doing. I don't know. I don't know what they can do with their contract situation with Russell
Wow.
Wilson. I don't know where they have money to do it. So maybe we'll ask Todd Jones to join the call 110. Talk
Yeah,
to
yeah,
us
yeah.
about it. So
Gotcha. All right, what was the one you wanted to hit next? It was was it
we need to talk about the Dolphins and the Patriots.
oh,
Otherwise, I
sure.
know that there's gonna be certain people kind of you know kind of messing with us a little bit. So hey, listen, I'm gonna say this right now: the Dolphins are for real. And
Agree.
after last Sunday night, I can no longer have any question marks about them being a top, probably the top team in the NFL right now, right up there
Yeah,
with the 49ers. So
I agree.
they just look like they're clanking on all cylinders. Go ahead. Sorry.
And yeah, well, when I looked at them, I got the same excitement. When I say excitement, not from being a Dolphins fan, but like when they hit the field, that had the look of like the Chiefs when the Chiefs were the brand new shiny thing. Like the Dolphins look like a new shiny thing, even though Tua's been there for five, whatever years, fourth, fifth year. Uh, they look like a shiny new thing. And even when the starters are out, like Van Ginkel is just tearing it up, like as if he was an All Pro starter, just chasing Mac Jones. I thought that it was impressive that the Patriots kept it so close throughout the game. I saw people were saying that they were so stressed out by the whole thing, but I was confident through there was no second of the game where I was like, gee, I wonder if the Patriots are going to win. I was like, the Dolphins are going to finish these guys, no problem. And yes, Waddle got hit pretty hard, and whatever, that was an inconsequential penalty. The last play of the game was pretty close as far as you know, did he make it? But it doesn't matter. The Dolphins for the first time like ever. I'm actually confident in the Dolphins, which that's a bad thing going into a game against the Broncos that you're expecting Subway Russ to show up. So it's not time to let off the gas pedal. It's a home game. I'm excited about the Dolphins, and I do think they're right. Yeah, they're the best team in the NFL. The only other team that comes close probably is the 49ers.
Yeah, I honestly think that they're probably better than the 49ers. At least just based on what I see on paper right now. And I hate not having my Chiefs up there. Obviously, you know that, but yeah, I'll go ahead and just say it now. I think the Dolphins are the best team in the NFL, and this plays out with me saying that they're going to be in the AFC Championship and they should win their division. So
Yeah. Oh, and as I say this, this is not like a knock. This is like actually how I think in my head right now. I actually think, as you just said, that the Dolphins are a better team right now than the Chiefs. That's
yep,
and I'm not saying that like, ha ha, I like the Red Kingdom, but I get something that I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think the Dolphins are actually better to the point where going into the season, I was like, when I did the schedule in my head, I'm like, well, we're gonna lose to the Chiefs in the foreign game, the away, the Europe game. Now I'm like, I don't know, man. The Dolphins might win in Europe against the Chiefs. So,
yeah, no,
anything could happen.
I totally see that happening. What I am excited, or what I'm actually happy about, is that the Chiefs kind of have. I think the next 6 games are going to be easier, at least teams that we should
Mm.
win, and games we should win. Because we play the Broncos twice. I think we play Chicago next, and we have a couple of other games in between there too as well. I think they're all easily winnable games. So hopefully during that time we can figure out our wide receiver situation, and Kelsey gets a little bit healthier because he still didn't he played well, but he still, I could tell he was just off a step.
Yeah.
So he didn't seem like he was fully back just yet. But hopefully by that time we'll figure out, because I would love to just have an absolute shootout in
Oh, that'd
Europe.
be amazing.
I think that would be awesome. So
That would be. No,
yeah,
yeah, that would, especially yeah, if it's like a 55-51, and another
and
2018 Rams
Rams
Chiefs
Chiefs
game.
game, yeah,
That would be,
100%.
yeah, yeah, that would be beautiful. That'd be beautiful. Yeah, if that happens, I don't even care who wins, as long as we get a good game.
Yeah, I get it. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm already kind of looking at it, but hey, listen, I'm going to take this one game at a time. So
Yeah, and I was wrong. By the way, I was wrong with. I thought Jalen Waddle was going to have a huge game just due to the fact that Tyreek Hill had such an amazing opening game. You figured that the Patriots were going to double up on Tyreek, which it seems they did because I think Tyreek finished with like 45 yards or something. And but Tua spread the ball around for the most part, and Mostert had 2 touchdowns, and so it was a team. It was a team win. When I think about the game, I don't think of anybody dominating. It was just a collective, overall good performance, both sides of the ball. So I'm real happy with the Dolphins. I'm looking forward to hopefully a shellacking of the Broncos, and then whoever's after that. I'm just looking 1 week ahead. But
I'm.
anyway, oh sorry.
You think there's any chance of a Mr. Unlimited game? Like,
There's always a chance for it, but it's if it was like the Dolphins of the past, I wouldn't, maybe. Okay, but the Dolphins of the now, they execute plays. They came to play. They play to win. They look like they're finally well coached and well disciplined. So I don't think the Broncos are disciplined enough for a 4 quarter game to defeat 4 quarters of the Dolphins, especially if the Dolphins continue to sneak these little heavy duty blitzes out of nowhere when you least expect it. Danger Russ, I don't think he's going to know what hit him. So I'm not scared of the Broncos. I'm not saying that that's a good thing, but I'm not. I'm just like the Dolphins should beat the Broncos, and it should be by more than whatever the point spread is. There's a big difference in the quality of both teams.
well, we'll get to that here pretty shortly. So I'm excited to see what the lines look like today, and then see how they end up on Sunday too as well. So,
So
but
I'll segue us to a the strangest finish that I've seen in quite a while, and that was the conclusion of the was it the 49ers and Rams? Yeah, 49ers Rams game. Did you see how the end of that game
I
happened?
mean, for my health, that was awesome. because because yes, while it shows 8.5, it was 7.5. 7.5 is what it closed at on Sunday. And I was at the sports book at the time, and that was one of the bets that I had placed. And the fact that he kicked a field goal was absolutely amazing to cover that half point spread.
I mean, it did that clip that we had of that guy. That guy's funny. I kept getting distracted. I wanted to follow his TikTok channel. The way that guy presented it was hilarious. But yeah, I've been waiting for something like that to happen to just indicate because I always wonder. I was like, if it came down to it at the end, would a team just kick a field goal even if you still lose by and in this case, there was only 4 seconds left, so they didn't even have the plausible deniability of, oh, well, we're going to get the onside kick. No, no, you kick that field goal and it's end of regulation. That's it. You just kicked the field because you felt like kicking a field goal. And when it happened too, when I was watching the game, and I was like, they're lining up for a field goal, and then he made it, and I thought, this doesn't make sense. I wonder if the point spread was 7. And I looked it up, and it
Yeah,
was, and I
it
was
was
like,
7.5. It was 7.5. So that was because if it was 7, it would have pushed. If it was since it was 7.5, I covered my Rams 7.5 point spread. So,
oh, well, on CBS, it was showing a 7.
oh, was it showing 7? Okay, I
Yeah.
got it at 7.5. So I was jumping up and down because I was like, I mean, I
The-
pretty much thought, okay, these guys are going to take a knee or something, or take a shot at the end zone, and then like I was going to lose it. But then I saw the field goal kicking team like run out on the field, and I was like, what's actually happening right now? And I remember because I think I'm pretty sure like the whole sports book erupted when it happened because everyone was just jumping up and down, and then there were people that were just screaming from the top of their lungs like, "Why are they kicking?" It's actually
yeah,
probably the highlight of being at a sports book watching that. So
That man, that is nice. Well, yeah. So that one is there. If anybody ever wondered, I, right there is your evidence. I mean, I don't know how much more clear that's got to get, but that one is one I'll remember in the back of my mind forever and ever whenever I
What,
place any bets.
what are you implying, John?
I'm just implying that, well, people wonder about, does the fantasy football impact what plays get called at different times of the game? Do prop bets uh, impact what plays get called? And this is what I'm implying too. All right, here's a conspiracy theory for you. These Amazon Web Service commercials that you see, you see them all the time, and they show you
Yep.
this neat little football field, and you see, oh, look at this ball, look at this guy run. He ran at 22 miles an hour. Oh yeah, Tyreek Hill, he's going at 29. He had the fastest run of the day. Yeah, Amazon Web Services could power your business. So when I see all that, I think to myself, I think Amazon Web Services is collecting all the data from every single prop bet on every single computer system, whether it's Bovada, whether it's FanDuel, DraftKings, and aggregating all that big data, or what do they call it? Yeah, it's called big data, and then
Yeah.
calculating the most optimum play, per prop, per player to run each down. So, and I even go so far that when you see the offensive coordinators in the skyboxes, I think they're just actors. I don't think they're calling the plays. I don't think the NFL is calling the plays. I think Amazon Web Services is calling the plays. Okay. That's that's what I think. That's what I think about it. That's my conspiracy theory. What am I
So that's
saying? I'm saying it's AI, it's AWS is the offensive coordinator for the NFL. And those guys you see when they slam their book down, when they show them in the box, they're just acting. They're acting.
I mean, I kind of feel like Buffalo Wild Wings called in the field goal. Do you remember those commercials with Buffalo Wild Wings and they were like field goal, or they would do something where they would just cover the spread at the very end of the game or something like that, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, or dude, I don't know. Maybe Sean McVay had money on the game. I have no clue what happened there, but it was,
well,
man,
have you
yeah,
seen it where
that was the head scratcher.
there's prop bets that'll be, let's just say, no name tight end, 33 and a half yards, and he'll get 33 yards, not 30, not 34. He gets 33, and you're looking at your prop bet, you're like, man, he didn't even get, he got 33, not 34. How could it be that precise? How could it know?
They're
So
that good. That's
they're
all.
like,
They're just that good. Uh,
that's my deal with.
we're
There's nothing
probably
to
watching
say.
AI. Yeah, we're probably watching AI generated games. That's probably what it is, man. I'm sure
None,
these players just sit at home and get paid on like like just for for them to use their AI generated selves. You know, like I don't know, who knows. So
and I also wonder if the footballs on the field goals are remote controlled. Like I won't put that past them either. In fact, that might have been like the real reason why Inflategate or Deflategate with the Patriots was such a big deal, was because it impacted. They weren't mad at he deflated the ball. They were mad because the ball needs some certain kind of inflation in order for the remote control to work. I don't know. There's got to be another reason. Deflategate was too preposterous to be a real thing. So I'm still trying to discover what the ulterior motive, what the real thing was behind Deflategate. But
well, when
who
you
knows?
figure that out, you let me know. But until then, I'll just remember that the Patriots cheated. So all right, man, we got to move on, man.
Yep.
Monday Night Football. We want to even discuss this? Because I just, ugh, that was just awful football, man. Like both teams,
Yeah.
like it was just, it was gross. I mean, the highlight, obviously, I don't even want to talk about the Chubb thing. That was just, at least Kareem Hunt's back. That's kind of cool.
Oh,
Good
he's
to see
back on
that.
the Browns?
Yeah, so the Browns signed him. So
Huh.
I feel good for him to sign there. But yeah, that was just, man,
Well,
Deshaun Watson looked absolutely awful.
yeah, did the stadium, the way the Browns Steelers game looked, that I felt like I was there, but not in a good way. Like I felt like I was on like a high school football field. It had this like, did you feel different in the atmosphere of that game? Did it feel strange to you? I don't know if it was the camera work or what.
I don't know because I was at a sports book having cocktails. So I just felt like I was looking at gigantic TVs. That's all I know. But maybe the being at home experience and not being so focused on. Uh,
Well, all right. How about this? Did your brain feel bizarre and like it didn't know what to do because there were two simultaneous games occurring? Although I guess the atmosphere you're in, it didn't matter. But like I think all these changes just kind of threw my mind through a. I just felt weird the whole night.
no, I mean I didn't feel it. I was more zeroed in on uh, the Brown Steelers game because I thought that was going to be the more competitive game just in
Yeah,
general. Um, yeah, actually, I really stopped paying attention to the Saints Panthers game at the minute the Brown Steelers game started.
same.
Um, so yeah, I guess I kind of wish there was two competitive matches going on at once. So
Mm. And I don't know if I had texted you guys, but I feel like like superstitiously responsible for poor Chubb's leg. I was watching him play, and he was running so hard, so hard. I mean, I was so impressed with Nick Chubb's runs, and I was just thinking, I was like, man, this guy plays so hard. I don't know how this guy doesn't get injured. And I was like, maybe some guys are just built like that. Frank Gore played so hard, and he barely got hurt. I was like, maybe Nick Chubb is from that same hard knocks that Frank Gore was from, because he could run so hard and play so hard, and just nothing phases the guy. And and then that happens, and I'm like, oh man. I mean, literally,
That
these were my
tracks.
thoughts. I was so amazed, just like, man, look at this dude run. I was thinking, I'm like, this guy's making every other running back look like they're not collecting their paycheck right. It's just Chubb was just going hard as heck. And then I was thinking, I was like, most of the time when I see like younger running backs try to play that hard, they eventually get hurt. Although I will say that I've always been impressed with how hard Pacheco runs, and I often think he's going to hurt himself just on how hard he runs. But
stop!
yeah,
Don't
yeah, yeah.
don't do that juju, man. Bad juju.
And same with like Marion Barber. Like when I used to love watching the Cowboys play when he was the running back, because that
Yeah.
dude gave like 150%. Like that, you're like, this guy is not going to live a long life. He's he's playing way too hard, and he didn't live a long life. And Chubb was running so hard that you know stuff like that's going to happen. He was when I was watching him run, I was thinking, this guy is the best NFL running back right now, and now he's not anything. Like now he's not even on the right. Like he's out for the year. It's too bad. We didn't deserve his efforts. He did so good, and it's a shame that he's hurt now.
Well, that Ford guy came in and he actually looked pretty good. I
Yep.
don't know. Maybe Cleveland just designs really nice runs for running backs, but I agree with you. Chubb is just one of those guys that he gives it all every single run. So yeah, that was kind of sad seeing that happen. So
And to your point though about Browns running backs, and in the event that a Cleveland Brown fan sees this, there was another year where Chubb got hurt, Kareem Hunt got hurt, and the third string running back, I think he almost hit like 200 yards in one of the games.
yeah,
So they got really good blockers, I guess. Although that might have been at the tail end of Joe Thomas. No, I think Thomas was already retired. But yeah, the running backs from Cleveland seem to do good, even dating back to our days with Kevin Mack and
yeah.
and all
Oh
those
God,
Ernest Biner,
Peyton Hillis.
Peyton
You
Hillis. Yeah,
remember
there you go,
Peyton
bro.
Hillis? He was on the
See?
cover of Madden.
And he became a chief, I think. Was it Peyton
Yeah,
Hillis a
he became
chief?
a chief. Yeah. So
Nice.
that
Yeah.
dude was the man for like one season.
Yeah. Oh, and do you have any Deshaun Watson observations?
I man, he's not right. Something's not just not there, man. I don't know if when he's playing, he's just I don't he just doesn't have what he had before. He's just not electric. He just doesn't
Yeah.
have that electricity anymore. That just I don't know. And yeah, he's just making really dumb mistakes with the ball. I'm not sure what to think of him. I'm not ready to give up on him just yet. Um, because I did have I believe I picked the Browns to win the AFC North, but I'm just not ready to fully give up on the Browns, and that means Watson needs to pick it up. So
Yeah, and I didn't rewatch these plays to know if this is proper criticism, but there was a pass that I saw him throw to, actually a couple passes to Elijah Moore, and it didn't look like Elijah Moore was coming back to the ball. So you know how it is if you just kind of run a route and you want the quarterback to make it to you without
Yep.
snatching it. It looked like Moore was just like running routes, but not like trying to snatch it. And that could help out a struggling quarterback. For instance, like Kelsey, he doesn't just wait for that ball to get to him from Mahomes. He makes sure that he snatches that ball. And
Yep.
there's some receivers that make sure they grab it. And Moore looked like he was just kind of waiting for it to make it to him. And that adds to Deshaun Watson's woes if he's throwing to Moore. And I thought he should throw to Cooper more. I know Cooper was a little bit injured. And then I don't know why the Browns don't overuse Donovan Peoples-Jones. That guy played great last season and the season before. Jacoby Brissett did a great job last season, given his limitations and circumstances. He filled in great. It was almost kind of sad that when Watson came back, like Jacoby felt like he had that team. And then not that I don't want Jacoby on the Dolphins. He was on the Dolphins, but it was nice watching him on the Browns. Regardless, uh,
Well,
Deshaun needs to step it up.
he's got, well, not just that, but he's got what, Njoku too as well.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't throw it to Njoku, bro.
That's a security blanket that, like,
Yeah.
Hey, listen, every play that dude should probably be open because it's gonna be a mismatch. So I just don't know what's going on there. I just don't know if he's just not, if he's still trying to get in. I mean, because I know he missed what, 2 seasons. So like maybe, but he's still young. He's still 28. Like I feel like
Yeah.
he's still going to get it right before the end of the season. But hopefully he gets the time because, well, they signed him to a multi-year deal, so hopefully he gets it right.
Yeah, and and Njoku never makes it through a season, but while you got him on the field, you might as well throw it to him.
You might as
I
well
don't know.
use him, yeah.
Yeah, dude. When I see that guy, I'm like, if I'm calling plays for the Browns, he's my first option. Like, is he open? Because that guy is enormous. So,
Yeah.
all right, let's hit the next one. Was it Ravens and Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say here. I mean, Joe Burrow looks bad.
Yeah.
He's injured again. I think what I already heard that he's probably going to be sitting out this coming Monday because of the tweak. Um, yeah, it's just
Well,
they're
and
not the
and
same team.
yeah, and we could rule out the whole like I'm not calling anybody back. I'm studying on the playbook. Now we know that little threat doesn't matter either
No,
if you're injured. Yeah.
but I will tell you this much. And I watch a show. First things first. Nick Wright called this out. Joe Burrow is 0-3 since they started calling Arrowhead Burrowhead. So, um, and I'm okay with
Nice.
it. So,
Hey, you better beware of the Indian curses, man. And when they bang that drum, you are not Burrowhead.
so yeah, you just you barked up the wrong tree, man. Bad juju is starting to kind of. I
Yeah.
think the bad juju is starting to settle in a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah,
But
don't floss, man. Don't floss on the Chiefs. It's like a bad deal. See, at least the Dolphins got all hail the Dolphins from the Hamburglar. So
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about Ravens Bengals. I mean, it
No.
was just kind of like whatevs, cool. It happened. Colson Texans, that was your guy. The running back quarterback got hurt.
Yeah, he hit his head on the field, and so it sounds like he's in concussion protocol. He's definitely going to miss this coming week. But I mean, for the first few drives that he was in the game, he looked electric. And they took control of that game early, and Minshew just was up on cleanup on duty. Now he looked good in that offense too as well. I'm not going to lie. Stroud had looked pretty good, had some good plays, had some good throws, kept him in the game. But yeah, I mean, again, I really wasn't paying too much attention to this game.
Once Richardson got out of the game, red zone stopped showing the Colts, so I didn't get to see that. Does
Yeah,
Minshew got the mustache back? Is he still got the
I
mustache?
did. They didn't even zoom in on him because they spent, after that happened, they spent majority of the camera on C.J. Stroud.
CJ Stroud, right?
So
How did he
yeah,
do?
Minshew was just an afterthought. He looked good. I mean, he has. Okay, so I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, but I do think the Texans need to get some weapons for him because
Mhm.
his receivers are getting zero separation.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I don't even know. He just, I mean, he's making plays with what he has, but I definitely think that they're probably 3 or 4 drafts away from actually having a pretty good team. So
The Thursday game, which was Vikings Eagles, that felt like that was a winnable game for the Vikings. And if I'm them, like, I mean, it shouldn't have been a winnable game on paper. It's the Eagles, the Super Bowl runner-up. But watching that game, I was kind of disappointed that the Vikings didn't win it. But I also thought to myself, you know, in our pre in our preseason thing, I said, man, don't underestimate the power of that 4th and 1, 3rd and 1 QB sneak with
God, I hate that
Hurts,
so much.
Kelsey. They ran that 2 or 3 times in that game, and like I said, that's the difference between winning and losing. And I feel like that's what won the game for the Eagles was just in the back of the Vikings' head, knowing like, man, if they get to 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, we can't stop it. It's impossible.
I want to make it very clear for anybody that's or like ends up watching this. That game was not on Cousins. Cousins actually
Yeah,
played lights out in that game. Um, there was just some random stuff that happens. I mean, Jefferson fumbled the ball. Um, I think there was a couple of like early
couple.
on. It was just
Yeah,
these games are so sloppy right now. It's just nuts. Like these teams are just not they're not right yet. But yeah, there was a couple fumbles early on. And Cousins was pretty much kind of trying to play from behind pretty much the whole game, but he had a really really good game. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that I
yeah,
kind of the Vikings, yeah, Kirk Cousins
yeah.
got the
They're one
raw
of
end
the
of stick.
best.
I don't put it on him. Yeah,
Yeah, between the Vikings and the Chargers are the two best 0-2 teams right now to me. Although they needed some running back help. Dalvin Cook's absence is kind of being noticed at this point. Did the Vikings win their first game? They're 0-2, right?
yeah, they're 0-2.
Yeah.
They're 0-2. Yeah,
All right.
and
The
Madison, yeah, he fumbled the ball up a couple of times. In the first game and the second game, right? So
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not saying he's a bad running back. They just kind of abandoned the run, and he wasn't effective. So it is that. All right, this next one, this one, this one was amusing, and it was a telling game. The Bears and the Buccaneers. How about that, man? How that played out.
man, okay, so I know that the Buccaneers really want to get Trask in, but I'm starting to feel like Baker actually has a home.
Mhm.
Um, and I looked at his stats like earlier. Now he doesn't have the yards of Tua, but he's got a higher QBR. Um, touchdown to interception ratio is is better than Tua's. And I think actually right now I think Tua is in the lead for MVP. Um, his stats are near the top of the league. He looks like right now he looks like a top 10 quarterback. I'm blown away with how good the Buccaneers look for quote unquote the rebuild year. So
Right.
and the Bears are just bad. Bears are
They
just
are.
awful.
And Justin Fields, the first half, it didn't look like he even knew how to read it. Oh, it looked like he didn't even like couldn't see the wide receivers or something. And then
Yeah.
the second half, he looked okay. He threw like a touchdown pass. I was like, dude, okay, wait a minute. How did you do that? But you didn't. So it seemed like he learned real quick. I wouldn't underestimate the Bears in this next week, depending on who they play, because I think Fields near the end of the game started to figure out how to play quarterback again. But as far as Baker goes, Baker to me is before the Bucks had Tom Brady. The Bucks were the Bucks, right? Tom Brady made the Bucks seem like this great franchise, okay? But if you remove your memories of Tom Brady, okay, the Bucks are the Bucks, and even the city of Tampa itself is, it's a strange town. I don't know if you've ever been there. The city, I don't know if you've ever been there, but Baker is the perfect Tampa. Like Baker should be from Tampa. that's that's how when I see him, I'm like, man, this guy embodies everything. When I think of Tampa, and I think of Baker's story arc right now. Okay, not Baker out of college. Okay, but I'm talking the broken Baker, the made fun of Baker, the downtrodden Baker. He belongs in the Bucks, and this should be his team. And the idea of Trask shouldn't even be in anybody's mind. I don't think Buccaneer fans are thinking about Trask. I think they're like, this guy Baker is us, man. So I'm, I'm Baker found a home. He not only did he find a home, he should find a residence. He should buy a house in Tampa and live there the rest of his life. He belongs there. He's a
I like
tampon.
it. Is that what they call him down there?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I just based on his even his post game interviews, he just looks humbled.
Yeah.
And right out of college, that guy was just a cocky shit. You know, he come up there, he would mess with all the reporters, he would whatever say whatever he wanted to. He just didn't seem like he cared. He just me against the world mentality all the time. I like that he looks at peace. Like he looks like he's finally found a home. I know he's only on what a 1 year deal, but I think he's gonna get a big deal after the season. Like I think he's gonna play well. I think he's in a winnable division. I could see the Buccaneers winning this now after the first couple of weeks. Again, it's very early. Saints actually still look pretty good too, but yeah. Oh, and by the way, you had mentioned don't count out the Bears. The Bears play the Chiefs this week, so
Oh, forget about it. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. Put all the chips on the Chiefs. There's no forget about that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, no, that bodes bad for the Bears then because especially Chris
Well,
Jones is back. So
so when you get a minute, I know that you're probably gonna have to get back to work after this, but Justin Field called out his coaching earlier today, like
yeah.
in an interview, and it was not very good. It's just not a good look. This is to me like what I feel like could potentially be like a tumbling effect where like the locker room starts becoming like just negative, and I could just see all kinds of things happening. I think what the DC just resigned earlier today
Oh
too as
yeah.
well.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so there's just a lot of random stuff going on, and what what I'm hearing is that I think it was two coaches had their houses raided after the games, after the first
Really?
game and then the second game. Yeah, like,
What?
and I don't know exactly what that if it's directly correlated to the losses or not, but yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Wow. Uh, Now I know that there's salary caps. I know that there's no trades right now, but I think if Justin Fields and Russell Wilson got swapped, it would be good for both players. I mean, I know it can't happen, but if that was able to be made possible, do you think that would help both quarterbacks have a fresh start, or do you think it
I
doesn't? It doesn't matter.
I think right now Chicago is probably one of the worst landing spots for any quarterback that's coming out in the NFL. Um, it's because they're just dysfunctional right now. Like
Hmm.
they are the Browns of what 4 or 5 years ago, what the Browns used to be pre Baker Mayfield,
Yeah,
because Baker actually turned them back into somewhat of a respectable organization again.
yeah.
Um, but they were completely dysfunctional until Baker came in, and Baker kind of changed that mindset a little bit. And now they're like what like a decent team, kind of always just bouncing around and kind of being there. Um, Chicago is now that team for me.
Mm. I saw potential in the Bears last year when they played the Dolphins. They came really close to beating the Dolphins, and I almost think they played better than the Dolphins. I think they might have even tanked for the draft and made sure to lose that game. There's no reason the Dolphins should have beat the Bears that day. The Bears look good. Like that's why I was big on the Bears because I saw the Bears at their best, where they still lost, but they looked like they had potential. And I remember like going into the offseason, they were talking about getting rid of Justin Fields. And I thought, did you not see how good he played against the Dolphins? Now, granted, when I say he played good, it wasn't his throwing. He set the NFL record for most rushing yards by a quarterback in that game. He was so fast. He was
Yeah,
untouchable. Like we couldn't stop the guy. And that was the only time they ever played good was against the
I,
Dolphins.
the Bears actually might be tanking, and I kind of feel bad saying that, but like if they get the overall number one pick in the draft, that means they're drafting 1 and 2 this next NFL draft. And while I don't think they're planning on replacing Justin Fields, that one spot because of Caleb Williams, because
Mm.
everybody wants Caleb Williams, it could be a hot commodity, and they could end up faring very very well in like trading that one the overall number one spot and even
Wow.
two. So
Well,
yeah,
Giants Cardinals. That was the tale of two halves.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that game, man.
They made
Cardinals should
Josh
have won that
Dobbs.
game.
They made
They
Josh Dobbs look
Cardinal
like a Pro Bowl quarterback in the first half.
Cardinals are tanking too. Let's just be
Oh,
clear.
that's obvious.
Cardinals like literally in the first half said, "Uh-oh, we messed up. We need to go ahead and just let the Giants back in this game." Because I can't explain what happened there. And that was the Giants' largest come from behind victory in history.
It
Um,
looked preposterous.
it was preposterous because the Cardinals that played in the first half,
Yeah.
they literally were told in the locker room, "Do not stop doing that."
Daniel
You look
Jones
you
had time that looked like Tom Brady in 2007. Like Daniel Jones was like, all right, like just looking, just chilling in the pocket with all the time
yeah.
in the second half. And I'm like, wait, hold up, how? And then not only that, the receivers he's throwing into, he's throwing these like perfect, like looking like Dan Marino out there, and the defenders, they were doing a good acting job. They would like be on the receiver, but not really. So if you watch that second half, just watch how the defenders are covering the receiver. Well, first, look how much time Daniel Jones has to throw. Two, look how every throw he passes, they're all like 25-yard passes, and they're all like right on the money. And the defender just happens to just be late. So I'm not buying it, but I'm glad the Giants are 1-1.
Yeah, something's really screwy there because the Cardinals could have won.
Commander game too.
Cardinals could be two. Cardinals
Yeah,
could be 2-0 right now.
I
They
agree. I
literally can
agree.
be. I
Yep,
literally think they are tanking on purpose.
same.
Um, I'm shocked, but I think they're actually better than what the record indicates.
They're doing what the Dolphins did in the tank for two a year. There was a lot of Dolphin games where the Dolphins would do excellent in the first half, and then in the second half they still looked okay, but like the other team would just score more, and it would just kind of blend into a loss. And it's like, the Dolphins lost,
Yeah, a little
and
sketch. Yeah, we know what's happening. Well, the Dolphins paid the price for it too. So
yeah.
yeah,
Except I did. By the way, do you remember the Tank Bowl? It was the Dolphins against the Bengals.
yeah, I remember.
Okay, did you bet on that game, by the way?
No, I did not.
Okay, because I would have been curious to know, like, what do you bet on? Both teams are
You,
going for the first pick.
you don't. Yeah, like if the Cardinals plays the
Bears.
Bears, that's just a game I'm not going to bet at all. So.
Mm.
And I will not even give you my pick on this uh on this podcast. So
Well, the final game that we didn't cover is Chargers and Titans. That one also felt a little sus to me. I don't remember what it was, but it was another game that Chargers should have won. I'm glad the Dolphins beat the Chargers, but it even felt like, hey, that was kind of nice that we got away with a victory against the Chargers. And then Chargers going losing to the Titans just was like, man, how?
they're just chokers, man. Like I
Yeah,
don't. I think the coach is going to get fired mid-season. Like I don't even think he's going to last half the season. Like it's he's lost too many of these games
yeah,
to
yeah,
continue to have a job in the NFL. And I think I think I mean I'm sure the players love him, like whatever, but God, I just they don't know how to close out games. Like the Dolphins was a winnable game, right? Um, so was the Titans. They were up pretty big early on, and they just let the Titans hang around, and all of a sudden slowly get back into the game. And uh, it's the Titans, man. Like it's
yeah.
Tannehill. Like I, it's that's just kind of embarrassing almost. I
The
don't even know what to say about it.
there's two games. Well, obviously, fresh on everybody's mind is the loss in the playoffs against the Jaguars, which that too was kind of a strange conclusion. The Chargers Jaguars playoff game, that that amazing comeback that happened. But a game that isn't talked about a lot is the final game of I guess it was the 20. It was one of the seasons where the Chargers and the Raiders, and if the game ended in a tie, they both would make the playoffs. And at the very end, the Raiders, was it the Raiders or was it the Chargers? One of the teams
No,
kicked a field goal.
yeah, no. So it was the Chargers that it looked like the whole game that they were just trying to tie.
Yeah,
It literally did. It literally looked like they were trying to tie. And I think the Raiders even said we were happy with just tying
right.
and both of us getting in. And I remember specifically that that I think the Chargers tried to go for it, and tried to win that game, and they blew it. And yeah, the Raiders ended up kicking the field goal and winning, and getting in the playoffs and eliminating the Chargers from the. Yeah, I remember that game. It's like they keep choking, man. It's like
Yeah, I mean that one, and what I remember most too was Chris Collins. Was Chris Collinsworth was calling the game, right?
yeah.
So whoever was calling it just kept saying like, "Can you imagine if this thing ends in a tie?" and yeah, so I guess it was overtime, and they came so close to actually tying. But yeah, weird. So yeah, the Chargers are chokers, and that's that. And anyway, so what do you got
Nothing else to
for?
say.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
got for our picks this week?
Do you have a
I,
sheet
I
today
was
or?
I was trying to find one. I couldn't find it. Like I had a nice one for last season, and I don't
Okay.
have one. I couldn't find any that were like a graphic that we could use.
Well, we could also just use the CBS page like we normally do, and we'll just kind of record the picks from there. So,
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
do you mind sharing your screen, and I'll just
You know what? I just found the graphic. It's on USA Today, and I will let me just capture this and then turn this into the image that I'm sharing, so it's
cool.
nice and big. Save this guy. Actually, no, no. Let me just save it like this. Share. Go. Oops. All right. Can you see it?
Yep.
All right. New York Giants plus 10 at San Francisco 49ers. Jeez. Plus 10 because there's no Saquon Barkley, right? He's out?
Yeah, he's out, and yeah. I
What's the
go
guy?
go ahead. Go.
Breida?
You can go. You can go ahead and go because I just
Yeah, so I guess
this.
Matt Breida was on the Dolphins at some point. He was on the 49ers at some point. I think he was on the Bills too.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I think the 49ers could score more than 10. So I'm gonna I'm gonna go with Niners with 10 points, although with this funny business, who knows what could happen. The Giants I'm sticking with the Niners. They're the best team in the West, in the AFC and the NFC. What do you got?
Man, I hate doing this, but I look at I look at the public, and 81% of the public is on the 49ers
Really?
to cover at -10. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do it because maybe, just maybe, the Giants found something in the second half of that Cardinals game, and they're gonna
Hmm.
kind of feel like they've like kind of figured out their offense for the season. They weren't supposed to be this bad week one, right? That wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to happen. Even the first half of the Cardinals game, they weren't supposed to look that bad, right? They were a playoff team before. I think that the Giants are still the team that we thought kind of coming into this game. Now, I am a little worried about their offensive line being a little bit banged up, but I kind of feel like this is one of those type of games where, who knows, maybe they kick a field goal with 2 seconds left to kind of get within 10. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a big spread. I'm surprised 80+% went with the Niners, but yeah, because of that, the Giants probably will pull it off, but I'm sticking with 49ers. All right.
Yep.
Indianapolis Colts +8 at Baltimore Ravens.
Oh man,
Who's
8.
playing QB? Is it Minshew or is it Richardson?
No, yeah. So it's definitely going to be Minshew because it's definitely going to be Minshew because I think with the concussion protocol, he has to sit out at least 1 week, one game because he
Wow.
100% has it. So +8. Wow. Um, because Richardson's not playing, I'm gonna probably go with the Ravens to cover.
Same, same. Because just I mean that's another big point spread, but I mean the Ravens aren't really known for scoring a ton of points, but it's in Baltimore. I do think like all right, maybe Minshew's gonna, seize the opportunity and shock the world and take the job that was in his mind meant to be his. Because I mean, think about it. Minshew's getting this chance in week 3 to take over the team. or make it really hard for the Colts to not crown him quarterback when Richardson's ready. But Minshew, he's open about like wanting to be the dude. So, but doesn't matter. Still going with the Ravens.
Yeah, this is a tough read because I think Minshew had a good matchup last week, and he was playing from with the lead, 14-point lead. He was playing the Texans. You know, I, I just don't trust him going into this next
Yeah.
game, but we'll see.
All right, Tennessee Titans +3 at Cleveland Browns. Wow, this is actually a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, this is a good one because you know, I don't know how to feel about it. Now, I love the fact that the Browns just signed Kareem Hunt and Ford looked like a pretty good running back. And God, the Titans have not really looked good. 77% of the public are on the Titans right now.
Wow.
I'm gonna go, and the Browns are lost a tough game at home. I'm sorry, lost a tough game in Pittsburgh, which is a tough place to play. That place was just rocking. It was loud, it was crazy. I think going back to Cleveland, 3 points. I'm going to take the Browns.
Same here. Browns are a good team. They didn't look so hot the other night. Who knows how the Nick Chubb thing impacted them? But they have it's not just about the quarterback or the running back. They're an average team all around. And when I say average, I don't say you're average, but they're a playoff. They're potentially a playoff team. So
Yep.
I'm going with the Browns over the Titans only because here's why. Ryan Tannehill is still Ryan Tannehill. Like he didn't change at all. And this is why I was suspicious about that Titans game against the Chargers. The Ryan Tannehill greatest hits occurred in that second half. I mean, all the plays that he did good when he was on the Dolphins, he ran every single one of them, every single one, and to the point where I was like, I know what the next play is going to be because it's the Ryan Tannehill greatest hit show. So yeah, I
But
wasn't
that
buying
that
it.
team is just really well coached. Vrabel's a good coach.
Yeah,
They've always got a tough defense. They're going to always have King Henry. I think that's kind of what the reason why they kind of hang around in a lot of these games. But yeah, you're right. The Tannehill factor is probably the only reason why I'm not picking them to cover because God, if they had just a decent quarterback, I feel like they could easily win that game.
yeah, and Miles Garrett, if he even gets remotely close, it's a sack because
Yeah.
nobody told Tana like, "Hey, guy, you have an excellent arm and you have actually pretty good accuracy on your deep ball, but you have zero pocket presence, zero, and zero escapability. And you're a fast guy, you're a strong guy. Why can't you evade the pass rush?" How has nobody told him that? How has nobody just took him aside and said, "This whole offseason, you're just gonna watch Patrick Mahomes"? And yeah, it's just not happening. So
Yeah.
going with the Browns. All right, Atlanta Falcons +3 at Detroit Lions.
I think Detroit Lions are pissed that they lost last week.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons won a game they probably shouldn't have won last week. I'm going to take the Lions big. So the three points to me just seems like it's not very much. I and for whatever reason, so this actually opened at 5 and it got bet down to 3. I'll take 3 points with the Lions.
Yeah, same here. That seems strange too, because if the Lions are home -3, that really means that this is a toss-up game. And yet the Falcons play the same game as the Lions play, and the Lions play it way better. Way,
Yeah.
way better. So yeah, going with the Lions. All right. New Orleans Saints +2 at Green Bay Packers. That's
All right.
actually a
So
good game
Packers are
too.
at home -2. I feel like these teams are almost even. Like uh, they're basically almost like same teams, right? They're kind of good defense, kind of grind it out. Um, I think both the quarterbacks can make some big plays when they need to. Uh, I love the Packers always at home. Now I'm a little worried that their offensive line's a little banged up right now, and I think that Adam Jones is questionable right now too as well. Now I know AJ Dillon is a good running back, a good backup, But I think the Saints are also down. I think they're also down Jamal Williams too. He's questionable. Um, I'll take the Packers. I'll take the Packers to cover.
Yeah, this game could go either way, but the Saints are better at home, and the Saints barely took care of business against the Panthers, although they are divisional rivals, so that you had to factor that in. This is a game that the Saints have to give away because I think the Saints are 2-0, and they don't look to me like a 2-0 team. And the Packers need a win, so I think both these guys walk out of there 2-1. I'll go with the Packers, even though this really could be anybody's game. But I think the Saints snuck away a victory and the Packers gave away a victory. So it's time for the Packers to bounce back. Going with the pack.
Going with the pack.
Houston, going with the pack. Houston Texans plus 9.5 at Jacksonville Jaguars. Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not even gonna look at Algo. I'm gonna just say that Jacksonville is in a situation that probably had multiple opportunities to beat Kansas City. Whenever really good teams lose a game, I always feel like they come firing back the following week. And I really like the fact that I really like this matchup against the Texans only because the Texans are so awful. I think Jacksonville, even though the spread's really big, I think Jacksonville covers.
Yeah, same. It is a divisional game, so anything could happen. But Jags in the first week looked excellent, and in the first half, up until Peterson wanted to go for it, they looked good enough to beat the Chiefs last week. So uh, Jaguars, and they'll probably score 14 more. So I'll go with the
I'll
Jags. They got a good
go
offense.
right now. It looks like 58% of the public is on the Jaguars, so that's about right for what it's at.
Okay.
I think it's priced correctly. Yep.
Denver Broncos plus 6.5 at Miami Dolphins.
All right. I'm gonna need to open up. I'm gonna need to open up the spreads here and see what this opened up at. So, it opened at 7. So it looks like it got bought down a little bit. 79% is on the Dolphins right now.
Wow.
Oof. And then the Broncos just completely blew a really bad game. I feel like this is feel gosh. I okay. Couple schools of thoughts here. The Dolphins clearly are the best team in the NFL. They should probably run away with this game, but I just get a feeling that Sean Payton probably really got into his team this week. In practice, I'm kind of feeling like he's going to script really well for this game, at least to kind of keep it close. I know the Dolphins are at home and everything like that, but God, I'm going to, because the public's so much on this game too as well and everything like that, I think I'm going to go ahead and pick the Broncos to cover, not win this game, but cover um, in a more surprising game.
Well, Bradley Chubb's playing his old team. Whoever we traded for him, I don't even know if they're still on the Broncos. Uh, Patrick Surtain is great, but Tyreek Hill is better. I don't know how Jalen Waddle's feeling after getting that big hit. But if so, Craycraft and Barrios, they don't have too much miles on them yet this season. Raheem Mostert could run. If Ahmed is playing, he could run. I haven't seen Chris Brooks yet this year. We haven't seen much of Devin A-Chain yet. So I think Dolphins offense still has a lot to prove. Plus, this is our home opener. So I would hope the Dolphins are excited to open at home. And I think I think we might see the offensive excitement, a one-sided offensive excitement. We got to see a lot against the Chargers, and scored a lot of points, but the Chargers also scored a lot of points, so that kind of took away from the dominance. I think this is the game that the Dolphins open up and just demonstrate like supremacy, awesomeness to get the hype machine talking about the Dolphins, talking about Tua, talking about the weapons. Even if Waddle isn't there the whole game, I think so long as Tyreek is there, that anything could happen. And hopefully Waddle is there. And if he is there, I expect him to do good too. So I think the Dolphins are going to win by 14. I think they're going to maybe even win by 17. I think it's going to be a big homecoming party for the Dolphins.
Got a question for you. You
Yep.
watched the whole Dolphins game, and I did too, but I couldn't really hear what the sound because I was at the sports book. But I'm looking at the injuries report, and it has Tyreek as questionable. Do you know what injury that is?
No, but no, I don't. But he was limited to 40 yards, so maybe he hurt himself. I don't know. If Tyreek's not playing, then the point spread comes into play. But I think Tyreek's going to play because he wants to hit that 2,000 yards, and now he's down because he had a bad game against the Patriots.
All right. Well, I'll have to monitor that and try and figure out what's kind of going on. But for now, I'll keep my pick as is. But I'm sure by Sunday I'll probably change it to the Dolphins.
Yep. All right, LA Chargers -1 at Minnesota Vikings. Now, how about that? Remember I said these are the two best 0-2 teams,
Yes, you did. You
and,
did.
and they're both chokers this year. Whereas last year the Vikings were like the clutch team that won all these one-score games, and now they're losing one-score games. So, yeah, Chargers at Vikings. Wow, what a matchup.
I could I could literally see this going either way. Uh, the spread indicates that the Chargers are actually the better team, not just by that 1 point, but by 4 points. Um, but God, the Vikings have looked honestly, minus just some dumb mistakes. They could have easily won their 2 games, and they could easily be 2-0 as well. Um, I'm going to take the Vikings to upset the Chargers in this. I just they're at home. I think that this is kind of a get right game for them. I don't know if Eckler's going to be playing for the Chargers either, and it looks like Bosa's on the questionable report too as well. I think they got too many injuries right now. I'm going to go with the Vikings to cover
Wow.
and win.
Well, seeing Tyreek Hill blew up the Chargers defense when they knew it was coming, you figure Justin Jefferson may have a record-setting performance, so you might want to put him on your DraftKings. But the reality is the Chargers guys covered Tyreek as good as you possibly could. They just can't. It's the cheetah. I think the Chargers have a lot of offensive weaponry, even without Eckler. I think they know how to move the ball, and I like the Vikings as well. But uh, Vikings are Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, whereas the Chargers are a lot more than that. So I'm picking the Chargers. And whatever team loses this game is going to be 0-3. And with that, that's why I would pick the Vikings because it seems like the NFL has a vested interest in Kirk Cousins right now. And whereas with the Chargers, it's like, whatever. It's almost like everybody wants to see that coach go. Even though I think that coach is good, he's just not assertive enough. I think he'd be an excellent coordinator. Like I wouldn't mind. I mean, the Dolphins have good coaches right now, but any team that gets that guy as a coordinator, I think he's kind of like Mike Mack. He's intelligent. Um, I just I'm going with the Chargers. I'm impressed with the Chargers. I like the Vikings, but Chargers are way better than their own 2 record shows. So
Okay.
next one is Patriots -3 at New York Jets. Ah,
This is an interesting game to me because you got really 2 good defenses. Uh, again, the Jets lost by 20, but didn't feel like they lost by 20 and kind of hung around that game. Patriots looked pretty good against the Dolphins, like kept Tyreek in check. Um, gosh, the over under's 37, which is about right. The
hmm,
line moved from 2.5 to now 3, and 76% is on the Patriots. And in games like this, it just feels like I should take the Jets to cover.
yeah.
I'm going to do it.
I think Bill Belichick knows what to do with, even though he's not a rookie anymore, he might as well be Zach Wilson. So I think Bill will put the Jets in the situation that I thought the The Bills should have put the Jets, and I thought the Bills should just put 8 men in the box to just say, you're not going to run, and we dare you to pass. And I think Belichick will do something along those lines. It might not be as offensive as 8 in the box. Maybe it'll be 7, just to take the run away. So I think Bill's looking at this saying, all right, they're not going to run on us. They're going to have to beat us with Zach Wilson's arm and a pass rush. And the Jets aren't dynamic enough with the quarterback situation to fool and beat Bill Belichick. And so with that, I think Bill's got the game plan drawn up to force Zach Wilson to beat the Patriots. I just don't think that's happening. But anyway,
Taking the
moving on.
Patties.
Yeah, picking the Patties. Yep, I got the Patriots. So
Yeah. So Patriots by 3. Just
yeah,
making sure.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think it'll be Patriots by 10.
Oh
Mac
wow. Okay.
Jones. Mac Jones looked like you know how to play quarter. Like I wasn't in the past. I'm not saying Mac Jones is like elite or even a Pro Bowl quarterback, but he's a serviceable quarterback. He's serviceable. He's not excellent. He's not great. I don't want him as my quarterback, but he's serviceable. He's kind of like Ryan. Like I mean, he's not like Ryan Tannehill, but the problem with Mac Jones is he's not bad, but he's not good. And the problem with Ryan Tannehill, when you get Ryan Tannehill, it's hard to replace him because he's not bad, but he's not good. He's and you never and because he's not bad, he's not good. You always wind up 8-8, or in these cases 9-8 and 8-9. So you're never getting the pick of the draft. You're just perpetually average. And the Patriots are now going to be perpetually average in the Mac Jones era because they're never going to tank and they're never going to make the playoffs. They're just going to be perpetually 8-9, 9-8. But anyway, we'll move on to the Bills -6.5 at Washington Commanders.
Man, everything about this game says Buffalo should just absolutely destroy the Commanders. But the Commanders remind me a lot of the Jets. They play really, really good defense. They run the ball really, really well. And this seems like the type of game that I could see Josh Allen just being done with the ball, trying to play hero ball. And he does that a lot against teams like this. I'm going to take the Commanders to cover.
Okay.
6.5.
Yep. If I'm in the Bills mindset, not that they can dictate this, but that loss to the Jets was unacceptable, and they can't afford to do that anymore. And they bounced back great against the Raiders. If you forgot about the first week and you saw them beat up the Raiders, you'd think, all right, this is the Bills of last year. And I think they have to keep doing that against these winnable games like that. Now I know you're saying, yeah, hey, I'm not saying the Commanders are going to win. I'm just saying they cover. But I'm saying the Bills have to get their street cred back, and they're still good enough of a team to get that street cred back, whether or not they really are or not. Commanders, Bills got to beat them bad. So I'm taking the Bills with by 7. All right, Carolina Panthers +6 at Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I'll take this one easily. Geno at home. Yeah, that I'm not gonna even question that. They win by a touchdown at least. So
Yep. The 12th man Seahawks home games. They're one of the toughest teams to beat at home. So going with the Seahawks. Plus they got to be feeling pretty good getting that win in overtime. All right, Cowboys -12.5 at Arizona Cardinals.
oh
Hey,
man,
Dave, be careful here, man. Be careful.
I know. Like, listen, like I bet the Cardinals 2 weeks in a row, and they've just they've been like completely doing exactly what I thought they would is and playing competitive in these games, and like part of me also thinks that a lot of these guys like are saying, okay, we know this is a rebuild team, but this is my interview for other teams next season on the Cardinals, and that's the reason, kind of almost the reason why they're playing up to all the competition. Um, and man, just looking at the algo with 88% of the public saying the Cowboys are just going to destroy. I'm gonna take the Cardinals to cover, and I know this is
Well, here's why I think you
I know
could be
that I
right.
know this is I don't know. Like they keep impressing me week to week, so I'll keep writing it until I can. So
Well, the reason why that's a good pick is that the Cowboys might get up by a lot and then go into like prevent. Whereas with the Jets, they didn't take a command early in the game. They took a command late in the game. Whereas in this one, the Cowboys might do like a Giants where they went up huge, and I think the magic runs out for the Cardinals in this game. So I think the Cowboys are going to do the Cardinals like they did the Giants, and they
I'm
didn't
not sure
do
what
the
magic you're talking about.
well, meaning that the Cardinals being competitive was pretty magical the last 2 weeks. They're playing the Cowboys, who are pretty damn elite. Again, they didn't blow us away with the Jets, but when you look at the final score, it's a pretty blow away. The Cowboys delivered. They just didn't do it. Just the expectations got so high after that Giants blowout. So I think they're going to blow the Cardinals out. I think it. I think it's going to be one of those like 20-point, kind of like. I mean, they took out the Jets 30. Was it 30-10? They beat the Jets pretty
Yeah,
good. So,
yeah,
and the
they
Jets,
beat up on the Jets a lot. So
yeah, and the Jets are better than the Cardinals. So I'm going with the Cowboys like by 14.
okay.
So Chicago Bears plus 12 and a half at the Kansas City Chiefs. Ha. They do make it tempting.
Ah, man, and the algo's starting to kind of starting to favor the Chief. Well, it's favoring the Bears, or at least the algo is saying that we should take the Bears with the 68% to 32. But I'm gonna go with KC because I think we're starting to kind of get in rhythm a little bit. I think with the turmoil that's kind of going on in the Bears locker room, this is just a bad time for the Bears to be traveling to KC. I don't like them in this game. Um, I'll take the Chiefs to cover 12 and a half.
Yeah, same here. I think the Chiefs have a same game that the Dolphins are going to have. Is that for me the Dolphins are going to break out this game, and the Chiefs are going to, just in case anybody thought the Chiefs aren't the Chiefs. I think this is that opportunity for the Chiefs to remind everybody that they're the Super Bowl champs. For the offense to click, if you're everybody else on the team, you're seeing like, all right, Kadarius Toney stepped up, but Richie James, sunlight or not, that's two in a row. So I think everybody else is coming to realize like, we're the Chiefs. We got to play at the highest of all levels. So I think this is where the Chiefs offense becomes the Chiefs offense, and they'll probably win by 17. And it's going to really be really bad for the Bears going 0-3. Bears going 0-3 regardless. Just they might cover the spread, but taking the Chiefs with the points. Just even if there was no algo, I think it's the Chiefs' time to shine. All right, Steelers plus 1.5 at Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh boy, uh, Raiders got beat up pretty bad. The Steelers won a game they probably shouldn't have won. Raiders back at home. The line says that the Steelers is actually better team than the Raiders because they're playing in Vegas. Uh, I think everyone is jumping on Pittsburgh a little bit after the second half, but I almost kind of feel like Steelers are getting credit for what the Browns did to themselves more so than the Steelers actually winning that game.
Yeah,
Um, I'm gonna go with Vegas to win at home.
same. I mean, the Steelers got spotted 14 points by the Browns, and it still came down to the wire. Raiders, see, both of these teams burn me no matter which way I play them. So I hate them both, but I like the Raiders more. So uh, going with the Raiders, maybe by a field goal. So both got the Raiders. Just I mean this one could go either way. This is a good game, and actually, as I think it through, the Steelers are probably better. Uh, and I probably should go with the Steelers. Actually, I'm gonna change. I'm changing to this. I hate to do that though. I'm gonna swap to the Steelers. Am I really? Did they lose anybody? Pickens is playing, right?
Yeah, he's playing. Yeah.
Um, man, although you figure that, I'll stick with the Raiders. The running back for the Raiders needs to show up finally. Can't believe I forgot his name, but he needs to show up. Josh Jacobs. He's
Josh
gonna have a big
Jacobs. Yep.
game. Yeah, he's due for a big game. And not only that, I think Minka Fitzpatrick, he's probably feeling bad right now. I think he got hurt too, didn't he?
Yeah. Like when what they call the dirty hit on Chubb.
Yeah.
He got injured on that play.
Yeah. I really should pick the Steelers, but I'm gonna pick the Raiders, and not because you picked them. I'm actually playing more emotionally that I want the Raiders to win, and so I'm gonna pick the Raiders because I want them to win. It's a dumb pick. I think the Steelers are probably gonna win, but I'm gonna pick the Raiders.
Okay.
Next one is Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus 5.5. Okay, right. So the Eagles are favored by 5.5 against the Bucks in Tampa.
God. Man. I mean, Eagle win this game easily, but
Yeah.
I've got Baker fever right now. I think Baker's comes up with the upset. He's gonna win at home. Monday
Holy
Night Football.
smokes!
Yeah, let's go Baker.
Wow.
Let's go Bucks.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You're not
I
feeling
can't.
his.
I can't. I well. I I don't like the Eagles, but I can't go against them. They're 2-0, and they still got that. I'm thinking of Devin White not being impressed, like Devin White saying, "Hey, I'm gonna show this Jalen Hurts and Jason Kelsey what Tampa Bay's defense is all about." And if any team could do it, if Vita Vea still playing nose tackle for the Bucks?
I don't even know who's on the Buccaneers roster
Let,
this
let,
season other than Baker.
yeah, let me see. If because see, Jason Kelsey, when you put him up against anybody, you're like Jason Kelsey wins. But Vita Vea, holy cow, man!
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah,
I,
gigantic dude.
yeah, I don't think he's impressed with anybody, against him. So I'm just checking the Tampa Bay's depth chart, making sure Vita Vea is still there. If so, I'm still going to pick the Eagles just for tradition. Um, Hold up, checking that. Yeah, Vita. Okay, yeah, Vita Vea is playing nose tackle. I'm gonna. I'll be watching this game just to see if there's a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, because between Vea and Devin White not trying to hear that quarterback sneak, I think we might see the first stop of the year of the Eagles on that play. But they got too many weapons. They're too disciplined. They got a decent coach. I don't like him, but he's a good coach. I'm taking the Eagles. You're taking the Bucks.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just listen. I feel like this is. I feel like Baker Mayfield is taking every single game as an interview for a job,
Yeah.
and I don't think he's going to let down. The Eagles have not looked right. I they're going to get upset by a team that shouldn't have upset them, and this just feels like a prime spot to do it because they're playing at a team that they should easily win this game. They're playing in Tampa. Baker's kind of
Yeah.
playing lights out right now. I just the storyline is too good to me to like not take this as that bet because if Baker wins this game, there's going to be Baker mania fever, and I guarantee it. Like
Yeah.
all of the news, like ESPN, Fox, are just going to be all over him and talking about this game. Like I just it's got the perfect storyline.
It
I'm
does.
talking into existence. Let's go
Yep.
Bucks.
I hope I'm wrong. I want you to win. Being a night game doesn't benefit the Bucks because we don't get the benefit of the weather. But uh, Eagles are still the Super Bowl runner-ups, the NFC champs. I love your storyline though. I'm hoping I lose here. I want to lose. I want to lose.
Hey,
I want.
listen, and Jalen Hurts is has never beaten the Buccaneers in his career. He's got a
Wow.
55.8 passer rating. He's only thrown for 115 yards, 1 touchdown, and had an interception. So he's not fared well against a Buccaneers defense. I mean, it's only one game, but
Yeah. Was it last year or was it the year before?
it was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
See, he didn't have
hey, I know, I get it,
he
but
didn't
like
have
I'm just trying to.
Brown. He didn't
I'm
have
just
AJ
trying to
Brown
talk
yet.
up the story. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to talk up the story here a little bit.
Well,
So
I hope I lose. I hope you're right. I definitely I want Baker Mania. Oh, and Baker showed up big in these primetime games. I think it was the Thanksgiving game or the Christmas game, and then he had
yeah,
the other game. So he does rise to the lights, but again, he's playing the Eagles. If it was anybody else, I'd be going with the Bucks, but I mean minus the Chiefs, but it's the Eagles. So all right, the final one, and I guess both of these games are happening on Monday night. So we at least got better Monday night matchups this upcoming Monday than we did last Monday. And it's the Rams plus 1.5 at the Bengals. That's interesting. They think that much of the Bengals. Oh no, actually they don't. Yeah, okay. So
yeah.
yes, yeah, you're right. You're right. All
The
right,
line
Rams.
opened up. Yeah, the line opened up on six, -6. But now that they know that Joe Burrow isn't playing, this line has come down quite a bit. So it went to 2.5. It's actually two and a half right now, but I think 1.5 is kind of probably at the time of this getting pushed. So like I think the Bengals are getting bought back in, but um, gosh, the Rams have been playing pretty good football. Very shocking. The Bengals have not been playing very well. I almost feel like the Rams should be favored in this game without having Burrow, and surprisingly, they're still favored. I'm going to take the Rams to upset Monday Night
Yeah,
Football. I'm going to call
absolutely.
for 2 upsets on Monday Night Football.
Who's the rookie of the year? I'm giving you a chance. You get to say the loud funny words. As of now, if the
I don't
rookie
know.
of the
I don't
year,
even know. Puka, what?
Puka, Puka Nakua set the NFL record for most receptions in the first
You're
two
just
games.
going to find a way to put his name or say his name every single week, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you think that Puka Nakua has got to slow down for week three. He's catching too many
Yeah.
balls, but since he's on a record-setting pace now, he's got to be spending some extra money on some massages to make sure his body's in shape to make it. Because he's got to have people around him saying like, "Hey, man, who knew you could set the NFL record this year? You got to play. You got to play at a high level." So Puka Nakua and Tutu Atwell, he's the other receiver. Tutu Atwell.
Tutu Atwell. Hey, and you know what I saw earlier today is I think they just traded Cam Akers.
Mm.
Cam Akers got
Yeah.
traded to the Vikings, right?
Yep. Well, we didn't factor that in for that Vikings Chargers game, but
I'm liking the Vikings even more now.
yeah, Cam Akers isn't good to put on your DraftKings though. He always lets me
Yeah,
down
I know.
on
Yeah,
DraftKings.
hey, you never know though, man. Like maybe this fresh start is a good thing for him. Who knows? You know?
Yeah,
Maybe it's like
I,
he looks at it and says, "See, this is what you're missing out on." So,
I think the Rams are gonna blow the Bengals away. And Puka Nakua is gonna continue his path to NFL history. So definitely going with the Rams. I think that's the first. No, it's the second team I picked that wasn't the home team. These two Monday night games are the only two home teams I didn't pick. Oh no, I picked the Bills to beat the Commanders as well, and I picked the Cowboys. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about here. All right. Well, we get we it seemed like we had a lot of similarities, but we also have a lot of dissimilarities.
actually,
So I
no.
wrote.
This week is we're completely opposite on a lot of games.
Yeah, you did good on like I think yours were more smart than mine, and you're taking these generous point spreads, and I'm going with the
Yeah, I don't like when spreads are that large. It's the NFL. These teams are all. I mean, we're talking about the top talents in the NFL, like altogether, right? We're
Mhm.
talking about the best of the best, and so like any given day, any of these teams can beat any of the other teams. I just think some of those gigantic spreads just don't make sense to me. I feel like almost every game, I could look at this lineup and say almost every game can end in a field goal. I could see it happening,
Wow.
So
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, that's week 3, and
in the books,
in the books. So, do you got anything special you're looking for this week? I mean, I guess Baker Mania is the number one thing. Uh,
yeah, Baker Mania is going to he's going to win his audition again. and upset the Eagles. And yeah, I God, I feel like there's one more big upset here that's happening, brewing that no one saw coming. But I don't know what it is. But I know we're gonna end up. We're gonna be talking about something probably next Wednesday. That's just be like, I can't believe this happened, and I'm excited to wait. And I'm waiting for it. I just don't know what it is yet, but we'll see.
Nice. Well, I'm just looking for the Dolphins to claim their throne as the top in the power rankings after this one,
I think
knocking
they're
the
already on
Broncos
the.
out.
I think they're already top of the power rankings right now.
All
So
right. Wow. Okay. I got to
they
check it
should
out.
be at least.
I
So
got to bask in that glory. I've never seen the Dolphins number one in power rankings. So,
enjoy it
I'm,
while you can, man.
yeah,
So
yeah. All right, man. I'll see you next time.
all right, man.
Peace.